Dawson's Creek star James Van Der Beek has passed away at the age of 48, around 2.5 years after he was diagnosed with cancer. Though the actor had considerable success in his tragically short life, he dealt with plenty of hardships too. Van Der Beek's family revealed on Instagram that the actor died the morning of February 11th. They wrote, "He met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. There is much to share regarding his wishes, love for humanity, and the sacredness of time. Those days will come. For now, we ask for peaceful privacy as we grieve our loving husband, father, son, brother, and friend." Van Der Beek had been dealing with colorectal cancer since August 2023, when doctors found it during a routine colonoscopy, according to People. He and his wife Kimberly had 6 children. Friends and fans poured out love and support on the family's Instagram post. Actress Jewel State wrote, "A beautiful person inside and out, sending your family love and blessings." Another commenter added, "James has been a source of light and joy to me through my TV screen since I was a little girl. His impact will live on in so many hearts, including mine." When Van Der Beek got his cancer diagnosis in August 2023, it was already at stage 3. The actor told People he never saw it coming. He noted that it didn't run in his family and added, "I'd always associated cancer with age and with unhealthy, sedentary lifestyles, but I was in amazing cardiovascular shape."
This has been a crash course in mastery of mind, body, spirit.
After getting his colonoscopy, Van Der Beek said he'd felt relieved that he'd done it, expecting to receive a clean bill of health. But then he got the news, admitting that it made him go into shock. He shared that giving his kids the news was maybe even more challenging than getting the news himself.
The hardest thing about having a cancer diagnosis is, what do you tell your kids?
Van Der Beek added that his wife, Kimberly, had been his rock during a difficult time. He said he couldn't get through it without her. He also said his kids tried to find some humor in the situation, and maybe he did too.
I've asked every doctor I've had, what are the odds, be straight with me, that I can get my kids to stop calling it butt cancer?
With a laugh, Van Der Beek said the chances of that were not very good. Before Van Der Beek could reveal his heartbreaking health news to even family members, the media somehow got hold of the story.
The world moves on faster than you heal, doesn't it?
The actor then had no choice but to confirm his diagnosis on Instagram. After stating that it was indeed cancer, James explained that he opted to keep his diagnosis private while undergoing initial treatments. The actor added that he'd have many stories to tell in the future. He then apologized to all his loved ones and friends who had to hear about his diagnosis on the news, writing, "Nothing about this process has occurred on my preferred timeline, but we roll with it, taking each surprise as a signpost, pointing us toward a greater destiny than we would have discovered without divine intervention." Van Der Beek had always been planning on telling the public about his diagnosis. Before things went sideways and the news leaked prematurely, he sat down with People to talk about his health news. The actor said he wanted his diagnosis to spread awareness and to help those on similar journeys.
In the past, I've found it actually really helpful and cathartic to share things publicly because I found a lot of support.
Van Der Beek first noted something was amiss when he started experiencing some unusual gastrointestinal symptoms. He told People, "It was just a change in bowel habits. I thought maybe I needed to stop coffee, or maybe not put cream in the coffee. But when I cut that out and it didn't improve, I thought, all right, I better get this checked out."
The gastroenterologist said in his most pleasant bedside manner, it is cancer.
If Van Der Beek had continued to ignore his symptoms, his diagnosis could have had even less time. Cleveland Clinic notes that by the time people notice the telltale signs of colon cancer, it has usually already progressed, hence why early screening as soon as you turn 45 is vital. Those who have a family history of the disease are advised to start testing earlier. Colon cancer develops slowly over the course of about 10 years, which means early detection is possible. When undergoing a colonoscopy, doctors can spot any polyps that have formed and remove them, after which they can be tested for cancer cells. Because of its slow progression and the ability to detect it early, colon cancer is one of the most preventable cancers, with UCSF Health noting that 90% of cases are preventable if people go for early screenings. James's cancer diagnosis only left him with more questions, and as he told People, he was someone who wanted answers. However, his cancer journey didn't provide him with many. He said, "The trickiest thing is there are so many unknowns with cancer. You think, how do I fix this? Is this healing me? Is this hurting me? Is this working? Is it coming back?" Having Kimberly see him dealing with the disease was also hard, and he had nothing but sympathy for his other half. He said, "As much as it sucked this past year, there's not a moment that I ever would have wanted to trade with her watching me go through this." To every caregiver out there, man, God bless you and thank you. James was determined to remain hopeful as the years went on and remained cautiously optimistic as his treatment progressed. Ultimately, his diagnosis changed his outlook on life. He started to take special care of not only his physical health, but his mental health as well. He explained, "I thought this is either going to take me out of the body or it's going to teach me how to truly live in it. I have a lot to live for." Though he eventually lost the battle, this outlook hopefully made his final years all the more fulfilling. As the Me Too movement started gaining steam in 2017, emboldening survivors to seek help, James spoke out about his own experience with assault. Speaking to Variety, he explained that he couldn't stand seeing women being shamed for opening up about their experiences. He said, "The only reason I shared anything was because I saw there was a tone that was being taken toward the women that were coming forward, judging why that hadn't come out earlier. Why are they coming out now? And I didn't like that." He added that people shouldn't be judged based on how long it takes them to work through what happened to them. He said he knew all too well the shame that accompanies unwanted encounters, having gone through such an experience himself. After so many women received unwarranted criticism for speaking out, he addressed the issue and shared his own story on X. He praised the women coming forward against Harvey Weinstein, calling the former film mogul and convicted sex offender's crimes unacceptable. In another tweet, he added, "I've had my expletive grabbed by older, powerful men. I've had them corner me in inappropriate sexual conversations when I was much younger. I understand the unwarranted shame, powerlessness, and inability to blow the whistle. There's a power dynamic that feels impossible to overcome." James and Kimberly have 6 kids, but the couple had suffered 5 miscarriages while growing their family. One of these miscarriages led to Kimberly being hospitalized. He opened up about the heartbreaking miscarriage on his wife's Bathroom Chronicles podcast in 2023, recalling how they were having an ordinary night at home when she started feeling ill. She then miscarried in the shower. He recalled,
It was just so much pain, and it was so unexpected because everything was right. Everything was fairy tale. Everything was coming together perfectly.
He continued,
We were both just crying and sobbing. And there was a lot of blood, way more blood than in any delivery.
After his wife lost consciousness, James called 911. Kimberly was taken to the hospital. He later shared on Instagram that his wife almost died. Explaining the miscarriage to his kids was tough, and he shared on Instagram how all 5 of them reacted to the news differently. He wrote, "I'm not sure there's any one way to do it, since every kid is so different. One bawled immediately, one had questions, one tried to make jokes, one tried to avoid by acting crazy. I feel like all you can do when explaining the unimaginable is be present with them." While navigating his wife's miscarriages and the pandemic, James also had to deal with the death of his mother, Melinda. He took to Instagram in July 2020 to share the heartbreaking news. He explained that his mother had been ill for some time, but that her death was a shock nonetheless, writing, "I'm grateful she's no longer in pain. I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm relieved, all at once and in different moments, just trying to hold space and allow for it all." He reminisced about how his mother encouraged him to get into acting and diligently drove him to auditions in the early days. He wrote, "She believed in me based on nothing but her own intuition, and she passed on a craziness that has been crucial to not just my success, but my own personal happiness." A year later, on the anniversary of her death, he posted another tribute to his mother, letting her know that her grandkids were missing her dearly and that she's often the topic of conversation in his household. He admitted that navigating her death had been hard, that it was nothing like what he'd expected, writing, "I thought I had a neat little expectation of what happens when loved ones cross over, how they communicate from the other side. Now I think I know less. The grief continues to surface on layers I didn't know existed, and I do my best to honor it as it does." Amid the slew of unfortunate events that seemed to follow James in 2020, the actor also had a scary fall that sent him to the hospital. In November of that year, he took to his Instagram stories to share a fun video of him rolling around on his one wheel while wheeling trash cans outside. Later that day, however, he and his one wheel had a bit of a misunderstanding. He wrote in his stories, "When the battery gets low, best to charge that thing up. I didn't check, so I tumbled." What followed was a series of posts showcasing his injuries. The actor had a nasty gash on his elbow, which needed 4 stitches. He told fans that he was lucky, considering he hadn't been wearing a helmet when he fell. James explained that when the one wheel's battery gets low, it tends to go slower suddenly, causing it to nosedive. This is exactly what caused his fall.
There you go.
In February 2021, James found himself rushing to the hospital again after his daughter Amelia cut her face after she hit her head on a table. Kimberly detailed the saga on her Instagram stories, telling her followers that the wound could be treated with glue instead of stitches. She wrote that Amelia breathed through it all and that she was scared. But after the doctor fixed her up, she couldn't stop singing their praises. While Amelia's injury had been minor, it came after an intense year for James and his wife. In October 2020, the actor took to Instagram to talk about the couple's decision to trade Los Angeles for Texas, saying the series of tragic events that followed them that year played a big part in their decision. He wrote, "In the last 10 months, we've had 2 late-term pregnancy losses, each of which put Kimberly in the hospital. We spent Christmas break thinking she had a tumor. The doctor was wrong, thank God. I was prematurely booted off a reality dancing show I was favored to win in front of the whole world. And my mom died. And a shutdown.